Today is March 14th, 2023. This is our Packard Bell Daily Driver test set. It was new old stock. We put it into service. A lot of people donated to fund this test project, and every time something fails on it, we do an update. And it's been very, very reliable. I gotta say, it's been very reliable. Other than blowing, this might have copyright, stand by. Other than the cathode fuse that I installed popping occasionally, and we've done a update video on that every time it happened, it hasn't needed any adjustment. It hasn't needed any tuning, no adjustment of the screens, the vertical, the horizontal. It's been 100% stable, like you would expect a solid state TV to be. And this is a tube set. Well, the IF is transistor, but something just failed on it within the last 20 minutes and it's gotten darker, much darker. And it could be the cathode fuse blew again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to power cycle it real quick and see if it comes back. It suddenly lost brightness. Certainly doesn't sound like the high voltage was low there. What'll happen is that it'll keep running through the capacitor, the electrolytic capacitor. Then when you power cycle it, the high voltage won't come back. And the high voltage did come back. But yes, it suddenly lost brightness, and it's obviously not the cathode fuse. It doesn't look real dark in the camera here, but it definitely has gotten darker, and the brightness is all the way up. Suddenly lost brightness. It's very dim. It is very dim. We do have an hour meter in this set, and that gives us a lot of information because we know how much wattage it draws. There's a bunch of fixed things we know, and by having the variable of the amount of time that's on the set, we can figure a lot of stuff out about the longevity and issues with the set. So I was going to try first to put it in service mode and see what the well, I flipped the service switch and that looks good. So it's like it lost video, not screen voltage. Well, I can definitely turn the brightness limiter up. And bring it back. And that actually looks super good. But it's weird that that's almost too bright. It's weird that it suddenly lost brightness. It was being watched at the time and it suddenly lost brightness. So I don't know. I think what we're going to do is we're going to pull the back off and look at the number of hours on it, and yeah, ooh, look at that sparkle. Ooh, quality. Love my zirconia.
Female, so some of those folks use they, them as their pronouns. Z is another gender-neutral pronoun, and the other part of that would be here, spelled H-I-R.
Okay, let's do some basic checks here. I still don't know why the brightness dropped. So we are on 2,413 hours.
Lower your interest rates with a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream.
I was able to save around $450 a month.
Since we installed this set,
It feels really good.
2,400 hours. let's take a look at let's measure the high voltage. I'm thinking about testing the CRT. It seems to have stopped blowing cathode fuses, probably because the horizontal output tube is aging and is slowing down a little bit. And what I might do is I might adjust the sound detector coil, because the buzz is come up a little bit, the background buzz. Our high voltage is at 22,900. I think it was 24 the last time I checked it, and I think it's supposed to be 24. So it's dropped about 1,000 volts, and that's with the brightness up or down. Okay, to attempt to dial in the buzz, we want to adjust that coil right there. It's in the same place on every set. It comes off the audio detector. On this one, it's A8. So we want to find that here, and we just want to sort of listen and adjust for minimum buzz in the sound, which can be kind of hard. So A8 is right there. So it's all the way at the back of the chassis on the circuit board in the back right-hand corner. Boy, good place to put it, Packard Bell. That's kind of a common adjustment, is the sound detector coil. What you want to do is just listen to the buzz.
Imagine what it feels like if you were strolling along the beach here with the waves crashing over your shoulder and the wind blowing sideways in your face, even driving around. Look how slushy it is, and there's puddles in the roadways. Temperatures not that cold, so the roads pretty easily treated here.
Just minimize the buzz.
Snow as it falls, again, including here in Boston, as it's falling, likely hitting the ground and melting again, especially roads that have been treated. But when you get a quick burst of snow, you can also get some of those slushy conditions very quickly. So still want to mind the speed. You don't want to go too fast, and just wait till this moves out. The wide view gives you a sense of the intensity of the storm with some lightning. Now, radars, which what you see right here, radar is land-based, so unlike satellites, which are in outer space, getting the data from the Earth, there are actual, radar sites on the ground, and they should send out a signal that only goes so far out to sea. So I'm saying all that because of low pressure. If you're on a boat out there, boy, it'd probably be either...
Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that there was any improvement. I couldn't improve it any.
So, in southern West Virginia, around Charleston, western PA, and Pittsburgh, the wind's still blowing, if not howling. Atlantic City, 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Some of that sounds like almost filter hum.
Winds at 29 miles an hour. And then here in Boston, it's 26. Those are the winds. But the water is really...
There is some hum there. I don't know if it's filter hum because it's with the volume all the way up. It's totally quiet with the volume down.
Watch this. Snow winds down tonight, but the winds...
Let's go down to... I want to do this test. Let's go down to 4.7 volts. This is comparative. This is the original, what you're watching right now. Give it a minute to sort of stabilize. Doesn't look like it made any difference. So that's what it looked like. No difference at 4.7 volts. The cutoff didn't even change. Let's come down to 3 volts. Or is that okay, so volts? let's do this. Let's do this test. Let's do 4.7 volts. All right. Okay. All right. it has lost some emission because it was up at 1.5 before. See, it was up here. If I could keep from hitting it. So it has lost some emission. In fact, it's lost quite a bit. 2,500 hours, it's same tester, same socket, same everything, and it's gone from top of the green down into the yellow at 4.7 volts. It has definitely clearly lost some emission. Let's go up to 6.3 volts here. Actually, okay. Things being difficult. Why is it so delayed? Okay. Hold on, I'm being stupid. Okay. 4.7 volts. Set cutoff. Yeah, it's definitely lost some emissions. Let's go up to 6.3. Let's see. 6.3. Yeah, it's yeah, it is definitely not as hot as it was. It was very hot in the first video, and it's lost. I mean, it's still testing good, but there is definitely measurable loss to the strength of the CRT in 2,500 hours. It hasn't dropped off much. I haven't had to readjust the cutoff. They're starting to not be as equal, but yeah, very, very strong. This is what a new CRT, this is a new CRT. I've come all the way down to 2.7 volts, and I still haven't adjusted the cutoffs, and this is what I get for emissions. Okay, so we can do that. Let's see if I bring the cutoffs up. Okay, we can do that. We'll come down to 2.7. Okay. Yeah, you definitely notice the loss on the low end, lowering the filament voltage. You notice the loss in emissions more than anything. I see. Can't even do it now. Yeah, it's yeah, there's definitely noticeable loss on on 2.7 volts. I mean, look at the emissions we got there. Yeah, not much better. So at 2.7 volts, it really starts to drop off. I'm back up at 6.3 volts, and yeah, it's basically no emission at 2.7 volts, nothing. So, yep, there has definitely, in 2,500 hours, there's definitely been some measurable loss. At 5,000 hours, we're going to start to notice it. Now, I haven't, if it continues, and I have a feeling it drops like this, it probably drops real slow, and then at the end, it just plummets. At the end of its life, it probably, in 20 hours, it probably goes from usable to unusable. But anyway, yeah, it's dying, it's aging.
This is so easy, and I don't have to use brushes or sponges.
It's like spray painting a mannequin, a mummy. It's like spray painting a mummy.
Let's move over to this side. You see this discoloration here? As the skin ages, it becomes rougher to the touch, and we want to smooth out that texture. Now I'm going in under the eye area. Now I'm just going to...
I think it needs a lot more than that, honey.
So everything looks as smooth as my face. Look at that. Finally, a makeup design just for me that addresses the issues of mature skin.
It seems like there's a hum bar in here, doesn't it?
I didn't want to cake on all of my old...
Maybe we're having filter failure. Isn't that right here? Isn't that a dark hum bar?
I love it.
At Luminesce, we have revolutionized makeup applications.
Yeah, there's hum bars in this.
Easy for anyone to use every day in a consumer.
Like the filters are dying. I just noticed that.
Foundation they've ever used. 94% said they would recommend Breeze to their friends. 97%.
Anyway, I'll let this video sit for a week. You know, I gave you the date at the beginning of the video. And all I can say is what we noted here was that the thing is starting to age. I'm starting to see it at 2,500 hours. The buzz in the volume, the buzz in the audio. She said it suddenly got dark, and I'm starting to wonder if that's a filter issue, low B+, and I'm also seeing this twitching, although it seems to do that sometimes. And the CRT is measurably starting to decline, as well as the high voltage appears to have declined about 1 kilovolt. Now that's adjustable, but you have to polish your décolleté. So anyway, that's a quick update. If this thing runs about 14 hours a day, it seems like. If nothing happens in the next week, I'll release this, let's see, I don't know, in 10 days or something like that. If not, I'll come back with an update.
Because I have just a dozen left, 205-865.
Allie, we do not have another emerald tanzanite piece planned, because, I mean, of all the emerald cut, it's hard to get in an emerald, let alone a tanzanite. How often here do you honestly see? All right, and you've got... Continuing on with this video, today is Friday, February, March 17th, 2023. And I was looking at the previous video of this, and we did not see this hum bar in here. So I believe a filter capacitor is going bad or has gone bad. So tomorrow I'm going to pull the chassis out after the set sits overnight and discharges. You kind of really... If we balance it between two channels, it almost seems like... That almost looks like clear filter hum. We do have a very slight hum
in the sound. So it's obviously not the main filter, but maybe one lower in the stack.
When that clock strikes, that coupon
You see the dark right here,
Please make sure you hit that checkout button.
and it's moving up.
205-667. Michael, we have 30 seconds left. This is
It's very subtle, unless you know what you're looking for. It's easy to watch the TV and not see it. It's right in the middle. It's right in the middle now, and it's moving up.
We will not have the scoop on. You better take that. I'm serious.
Okay.
And it also seems like the whole TV is getting darker at the same time. Lower voltage.
20% off the entire purchase. Michael, thank
you very much. Thank you. Wonderful. And we'll see you again. Tomorrow.
Here's our chassis. 98C18. Still all original tubes. Right now we are at 2,453 hours. I suspect one of these electrolytics, one of the sections or some electrolytic in this set went open, I don't know, about 50 hours ago, whenever the first part of the video was. But nothing else has been changed. Nothing has been touched. It's still all original. So I think it's doing okay. These are the original electrolytic capacitors from the late 60s. So you can't complain if an original electrolytic lasts 2,500 hours. We're going to just check everything with the ESR tester. I did that in the very first video. Everything was great. First thing I'm doing is making sure all the capacitors are discharged, making sure all the sections are discharged. The ESR tester does not like to have voltage applied. Even though the set has been sitting overnight, I still want to just take a minute and just make sure. I don't want to pop my awesome capacitor wizard that supposedly is very poorly built from what I've been told. So we'll just take and make sure all of these are shorted to ground for a second. If any one is bad, it's probably this one that this resistor that gets hot's connected to. Try and hold this so we can see everything. We can be friends. Well, that one seems pretty poor. That one seems non-existent. That one's okay. I guess it depends on the value. That one is non-existent. Wow. A little bit more than I thought. Come on, make contact. That one is okay. That one is okay. That one is okay. And when I say okay, not good, just okay, acceptable. This one here is completely gone. We'll have to figure out what that one is. You could go back and watch the first video and you'll see these are all spring chicken fresh. So this capacitor right here is done. All sections. It's that one right there. But this is especially, this is open. There's nobody home here. Now some of these other ones could be really low value. We'll have to look at that. Okay. This one is still spring chicken fresh. This one here, which is in the sound circuit, maybe this is why the thing is buzzing now, is totally gone. And I know this one was good before. Ooh, let's dial in on that. Let's get our protest shut down. There you go. 66. So we got 2,000 hours out of capacitors from 1966. Well, surprisingly, this one is still protesting to the tune of 1 ohm. And keep in mind, before we start posting comments about, well, you should have recapped it before you started using it. Well, of course, but this was an experiment to see how a new old stock set from 1966, obviously, would perform and last, and what would go wrong at what hour mark. So we kept it all original. So now we're at 2,400 hours and we're starting to see capacitors fail that are starting to show up in the performance of the set. So it's taken that long. So that's why we didn't preemptively recap it. We are doing a test run here. This is an experiment. Okay, I took a picture of it. Here's what we got. So we got half moon is 80, square is 50, triangle is 20, nothing is 10. So we have 80 at 275, 50 at 275, 20 at 450, and 10 at 200. Now, I believe what's open, and it's real hard to see the... It's like practically impossible to see the damn... yeah. That's half moon right there. That's square. That's triangle. Or is it on the outside here? It's on the outside. Okay. There you go. That's half moon. That's square. That's triangle. So triangle is the one that's completely dead. So triangle is 20 at 450. Okay, this is capacitor 2 right here on the SAMs. So C2, and this is supposed to be the half moon, which should be an 80. So half moon right here. And that one is bad. It's like 20 ohms. And that one looks like it's fairly important because it comes off the center tap of the... I'm not sure exactly what they're doing here, but they're coming up with some lower supply voltage sources. 135 and 15 volts. And let's see what the square is. The square is a secondary filter, which is okay. It's half an ohm. That's pretty good. It's interesting that a 50 microfarad is measuring half an ohm and an 80 is measuring 20 ohms. It's just baked out. Okay, I want to try and... Let's see, this one is pretty crappy too. This whole thing needs to be replaced. Let me see if I could find the C2 triangle. That's the one that's dead open. Okay, here's C2 triangle, which is just a filter for the audio. So, I mean, like, who really cares about that? That's not going to affect it. I don't think that's what's causing the hum bars, and I believe this is the other one that's on the circuit board here that's open. Yeah, that would account for the slight buzz in the audio and maybe low volume, but that's not going to account for the hum bars. Can't lose with 22s. This is a do as I say, don't do as I do kind of thing. I just took and bridged capacitors across the old ones. This is what a discount crappy shop would have done in the late 60s. I plan on putting in an order and getting all the right capacitors for this. It's going to need both of them done. I mean, by the time we hit 3,000 hours, I think they're both going to be bad. So I'm going to order all 7 capacitors and redo them. This one is the cathode bypass, which is open. I just jumped one across the bottom. The same thing here. This is not the way to do this. You need to remove the old capacitor for safety's sake. But just for temporary, so I can put in an order and get all of them, we're going to just roll with this and hope it fixes it. I think I got a couple more on the top I got to check. But yeah, this is, don't do repairs like this. This is not the appropriate way to do it. This is bad, okay? But at least I got the ESR down on all of them now. So that one is below a 1/2 ohm. This one, which was completely open, is now about a 1/2 ohm. And this one, the 2 that are open here, 3 of them are for the audio. This one, and that one are connected to the audio output tube. This is the only one that might have been affecting the video. So we'll have to see. If not, if it doesn't fix it, I'm not going to tear it apart again. I'm just going to put in a full order for capacitors. I got to get a picture of this one so I know what values to order. This is that cathode one I bypassed, and look at this. Looks like that one blew up, blew the side out of it. It's pretty amazing. I didn't know there was that much current on the cathode of the horizontal output of the audio output tube. And we got one right here that measures good. That one checks good. So I need to get the values off of this one so I can order all of them and redo both of these. Well, they're all 450 volt, but I cannot see. Yeah, I cannot see the values. No way. Gonna have to use a schematic. Okay, I got it. It's 80, 50, and 20 at 450 volt. So I'll order those 3, and I'll order these 4, and we'll replace all 7 of them. I just eliminate. I'll get the good ones. And that way we can just eliminate that from future failures. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Chassis back installed. I think I got everything hooked up again. So let's see what those 3 capacitors jumped if we got rid of the hum bars. And it would have been the bigger half moon 80.
It was going to be to the degree that it was. And I don't think anybody really thought that 50 inches of rain was really going to happen.
Rain, and it would not stop. And it just got heavier. The water came through the front door. We actually have a kayak. So Troy left in the kayak to go look for help.
The water was flowing so fast. It was like rapids.
It was crazy. There were just cars completely submerged.
We ended up losing our home because of the flood.
After the hurricane happened,
not nearly as bad as it was. To me, in the camera, you see a bar, but to me, it looks just white.
became like a sanctuary for us. We were perfectly safe and secure in the home.
Our son was just sleeping so peacefully, and we were thinking, wow, he has no idea what's happening out there.
We felt really lucky that we had the generator. It's provided us so
better. And then I discovered Omega XL. The pain started subsiding. I get up in the morning.
There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of conflicting information out there, and there are a lot of influencers, and there's a lot of people who are not experts giving out a lot of advice on skincare based on how they get incentivized, based on the celebrity, based on some marketing.
She has sphincter's face. Sphincter face. It's louder. It's a lot louder. The audio is a lot louder, like there's more power, but the buzz is still there. Now, buzz and hum are two different things. This is like video buzz.
And share that knowledge and create those formulas that make a difference. So when you want to use skincare, when you're looking at your skin and you're thinking, you know what, I want to improve it, and you're going to hear about a fancy treatment, or you're going to go.
And within that, we want to get the oil out, and that's where we turn to our press, our secret weapon. When you buy olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil, it comes from an olive, right? The best way to get it is to squeeze it. They take those olives and they put it in a press and they apply a lot of pressure, and out comes the oil. We could have used these giant chemical extraction processes, CO2 extraction or ethanol. Very, very complicated, very, very tough on the plant because they use chemicals.
Oh, here we go.
Beings, and having a satisfying physical relationship with their wives has been shown to help men's self-esteem and confidence. Now you don't have to pay up to $70 a pill for virtually the same result.
Back to this again.
And Steel Man Pills, our alternative little blue pill, is available today.
Just let it run 24/7.
$3 a pill, but you can only get yours if you call the number on your screen. So don't wait or put it off. Call Steel without the high price. It's time for you to discover the incredible new breakthrough that brings the same ingredients in the little blue pill to your doorstep.
Maybe if she used some crepe erase, her man would not need a little blue pill.
Serious medical condition. That there are a number of other factors that can cause ED. Some of these include diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, high cholesterol, chronic alcohol or product abuse, certain medications, as well as injuries. In younger men, the problem many times is purely psychological. ED can be caused by stress, depression, and performance anxiety. A variety of medications, especially beta blockers for high blood pressure and certain antidepressants, can also lead to erectile
So
dysfunction.
colorful.
There are a variety of emotional benefits, in addition to the obvious.
And then they show somebody drinking alcohol. Isn't that great? They say alcohol is a cause, and then they show people drinking alcohol.
Rewarding sexual relationships and to satisfy their partners. This has a direct effect on the patient's attitude and self-esteem, which are significantly improved. Wouldn't it be great to truly supercharge your relationship, bringing it back to the days when you first met, when it was exciting to just spend time together, when you had the energy and stamina to take on anything? Just imagine the joy and fulfillment of going back to the days when you had confidence in yourself, that you could be up for any challenge, and that your relationship had no limits whatsoever. So don't wait. Don't put it off. Call Steel Man Pills at the number on your screen right now and speak to one of our friendly, knowledgeable representatives. The call is free, the information is free, and there is absolutely no...
Does the guy in the call center really wear a suit and tie? I mean...
And your life. The little blue pill is available now for less than $3 a pill.
Wow, the picture is back and it's great.
Call the number on your screen. And when you call, ask about our exclusive little blue pill specials. Call the number on your screen right now and get all the free information with absolutely no obligation.
Yeah, what a good picture.
We do suggest that you contact that some internet sites are selling products claiming to be the little blue pill, but are actually counterfeit pills.
Ooh, fentanyl.
Dangerous substances such as blue printer ink, amphetamines, also known as speed. Plus, they may contain a powerful antibiotic that could cause an allergic reaction, diarrhea, or vomiting. In addition, they may have binding agents, such as drywall, that can prevent the tablet from breaking down in your system.
Okay.
At Steelman Pills,
So drywall is gypsum, and most pills are made out of, I think, calcium carbonate.
Our little blue pill gives you results that are virtually as safe and effective as the original, more expensive product, with no dangerous additional ingredients added. So you can be assured that when you place your order for our blue pills, you are getting a genuine product, and you will be getting the same results as if you had taken the original blue pills.
All right, I'm done with this. I need to order the capacitors, but obviously that fixed it because it's got a bright, great picture again.
Some type of sexual dysfunction.
Oh, yes.
Lack of sex drive in women is a complicated process, often magnified by stress, hormonal changes, or lack of intimacy. The name for this disorder in women is female sexual interest arousal disorder, or FSIAD, and it usually occurs most often in premenopausal women. Women have traditionally longed for their own version of the little blue pill. For women, when they approach middle age and beyond, it's not uncommon for most to observe a decrease in overall sex drive. Female sexual response and desire is a complex issue. Sexual problems may be due to difficulties with arousal, a lack of desire, or both. Many factors can influence sexual desire in women. A decrease in sex drive can originate from daily stressors, finances, family issues, personal issues, depression.
Relationships can leave grandma alone.
If your thoughts are filled with daily life events that are overwhelming your attention, there's a very limited amount of space in your attention span for sexual thoughts or fantasies. If your attention is focused more on pressing matters, there may be a reduced response or even no response in your desire to respond to sexual cues or stimulation.
Cues.
This can lead to a loss of interest or even the inability to maintain interest in sexual activities. Women may worry over these changes with significant feelings of frustration and incompetence at the lack of sexual interest or arousal. Desire is often connected to a sense of intimacy between.
There we go with that sphincter face again. Look at that.
Over time, psychological challenges may contribute to biological problems. Until recently, there was no equivalent of the blue pill for women. But now, modern science has revealed a new pill designed just for a woman's unique body chemistry. The products designed for women boost the activity of chemical messengers in the brain called neurotransmitters.
All right. This is morbid and stupid and whatever. But anyway, 2,400 hours, first documented problem. The capacitors are starting to fail. Did we notice any difference in the audio? It's a little louder, a little bit more power to the speaker, but definitely got rid of that hum bar with that one that was that 80 at 275. All right. Thursday, March 23rd. The horizontal seems to have become unstable. I'm having to adjust it every day. Maybe the phase detector diodes are going bad, but every time it sits turned off and then we turn it back on, I have to adjust the horizontal hold to get it to lock. And that should not be. So, yes, something else is failing. All the capacitors arrived to recap the set, but we're not going to do that until the next one fails, until there's another problem. But I ordered all of them. They're all here to redo every electrolytic in the TV. I actually needed to get to this today. This was sort of the pressing issue, which was fixing the lawnmower, because with all the rain we've had, of course, the grass is growing like crazy, and this thing lost compression again. I really need to put a different engine on this mower. I like the mower. The mower's been pretty good. I might take this engine and put it, this is an overhead valve, and see if it'll fit on this deck. I believe what's happened, this has happened before, the valve guide, the exhaust valve guide pops up. I think the engine overheats because it sucks a bunch of crap in. That's why I got this over it, but it doesn't stop everything. And then the exhaust valve starts to pop up. The guide starts to pop up, and then the valve doesn't close, and it loses compression. Just free spins. So yeah, maybe I'll take you along as I pull this apart. Hopefully I can just get it to run for today, because the rain is just so out of control this year. I know this thing burns a lot of oil, but holy crap, look at the carbon. That is epic. Look at the spark plug. Try and zoom in on that. Look at the frickin' spark plug. That is badass. Maybe this is not a valve problem. Air pain. This motor's just done wore out. This thing smokes like a toddler in Indonesia. The intake valve sure doesn't open very far, does it? I don't know. Is it just carbon? Is the reason why it doesn't have any compression is it's just carbon's causing the valves to hang open? I need to peek down in there and see if the guide moved up and is holding the valve from closing. It's happened before. I can see down in there, and it certainly does not look like the guide slid up like last time. Last time the valve was bottoming out on the guide, and I don't see that. I think it might just be carbon. Carbon causing the valves to hang open. I mean, these springs are really weak on these things. You can, yeah, let me clean it up and put it back together. The scoring and pitting in the cylinder wall is just epic. And this was a street find, and it is always smoked. It's always smoked. In fact, sometimes I just run straight Lucas in it. But yeah, this thing is so epic. Someone must have just run this thing with oil without oil until it's seized, and then broke it loose and then kept running it, because it's done. It needs to be replaced. This engine is just junk. Yeah. Not me, I didn't do it. Don't blame me. I don't know. I can still blow air through here, just blow air, and I can feel it blowing out the valve. So I don't know. Maybe it'll start, maybe it won't. I'll have to try it. But the carbon on this was epic. I got this all cleaned up now. This was insane. So here's a question. Does the carbon decrease the combustion area and increase power by increasing compression? Or does the carbon absorb fuel and cause hot spots and actually reduce power? I don't know. I don't know the answer, because all this carbon definitely would increase compression on something that probably doesn't have any rings left in it anyway. I'm going to clean it up and put the head back on it and see if we feel anything. Yeah, it's still no compression. I mean, just freewheels here. And I can tell it's the exhaust valve because I put my hand over here and I can hear it both suck in and blow out. I took the head off again and cleaned the carbon out from around the exhaust valve. And I almost think what's going on here is there's so much carbon buildup on the stem of the valve, it can't pull it all the way closed. It's getting hung up on the seat, the carbon on the stem of the valve. So my thought was if I could get it started, maybe I get it hot and clean that out, although I don't know. It's pretty far gone. There she goes. Yeah, now it has compression again. Not much though. So anyway, boy, that's a awesome carbon job. I don't care, just as long as I can get it to run for 3 or 4 hours so I can tidy this place up a little bit. Ooh. Earwig.
So profound it's hard to explain. The suddenness tends to magnify the grief. As time passes, the shock and numbness slowly make way for the sober reality of their absence. An empty chair at the dinner table, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the holidays, without them. Everyday things, small things, the detail you miss the most. The scent when you open that closet door. The park you go by that you used to stroll in. The morning tea you shared together.
Yes, never let a good crisis go to waste. Fly out to California to sign some executive order to limit people's rights and freedoms more. Because some crazy, anyway, it's not even worth, it's a cycle. It just keeps going and going and going and going.
And stood strong throughout the pandemic as anti-Asian hate crimes rose. Through the lengthy shooting investigation. There's more in this executive order, but I'm not stopping there. Last week I laid out in my budget that we invest more in safer communities and expand access to mental health services for those affected by gun violence.
He just sounds so tired. Dude, like, check in with the previous guy about Adderall. It would help. I mean, anything would help.
But let's be clear. None of this absolves Congress the responsibility from the responsibility of acting. To pass universal background checks. Eliminate gun manufacturers' immunity from liability.
Yes, maybe you could put Adderall in your ice cream.
Determined, once again, to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. I led that fight to ban them in 1994. In the 10 years that all of you, not just Brandon, all of you. The character of this community, the faith you have in this community, the pride we see it in you across all of American life. Just this week, a film about resilience and power.
They need one of those things on his mic that they put on radio stations to give the music dynamic range, one of those exciter. Not an exciter. An exciter is like an FM transmitter, but yeah, the thing, what do they call it? I'm blanking out right now. It makes it sound exciting. It gives it dynamic range and flattens it out and makes it loud. This just sounds like tired mumble.
shooting in Buffalo. Most significant gun safety law in almost 30 years. That was in addition to me signing more executive actions to reduce gun violence than any of my predecessors at this point in their presidencies. Today, I'm announcing another executive order. It'll accelerate and intensify this work to save more lives more quickly. First, this executive order helps keep firearms out of dangerous hands. As I continue to call on Congress to require background checks for all firearm sales. And in the meantime, my executive order directs my Attorney General to take every lawful action possible to move us as close as we can to universal background checks without new legislation. It's just common sense to check whether someone is a felon, a domestic abuser, before they buy a gun. The executive order also expands public awareness campaigns about the red flag orders, laws. My son, before he died, Attorney General in Delaware, was a great proponent of an institute.